Something is too good to be true, is it? The age-old saying that everyone knows, if something is too good to be true, it usually is an interesting thing for people to cling on to. Because on one side of the coin, we all have hope, right? And it is ultimately to a very degree from person to person, but everyone does have hope. If you are hopeless, then you have probably given up on everything. I don't mean that in an accusatory way or even like a sad way. It's just kind of a logical determination, right? If you are without hope, then you have given up on everything. Because we hope for everything. We hope for the new job. We hope for the acceptance letter. We hope that she'll say yes. We hope for a better willpower tomorrow when we pass those oh so consuming golden arches that I pass by every single drive home. We hope for a better lap time when we set out to do another mile. We hope for great vacations. We hope for great friends. We hope for happiness and contentment. We hope that AI won't eventually take over the entire world and deem us all completely useless for the planet. Like, we are all hoping to some degree for everything. Just on a day-to-day basis, as you can see, and you've probably been thinking of your own examples, we are hoping always. And yes, a lot of examples are hopefulness combined with working hard, but what about the things in life that just have to be hoped for? What about the things that are completely outside of your control? Is hoping to the point of the most positive outcome expectancy just too good to be true? Now, this gets even more interesting when faith factors in. There are several verses that I encourage you all to read and research your own, but just a few here talking about hope. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Romans 12:12. Rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer. And Romans chapter 8, verses 24 through 25. For in this hope we were saved. Now, hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what he sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. We should persevere in hope. How many times am I going to say hope in this video? Probably more than I care to count. But even still, the question can still linger. Why do so many things turn out way too good to be true, even when I'm hopeful? I was talking with a friend of mine a couple years ago, a great friend of mine, shout out. I don't know if he wants to be named, so I'm not actually going to shout out his name, but he might know who he is if he ever sees this. And I don't remember how it came up. I don't remember the exact conversation we were having that led to this. I don't even remember what the situation was that he was referencing when the age-old statement came up that he quoted, when something is too good to be true, it always, always is. And he said it just like that. And honestly, engraved in my memory, it's even deeper than that. It was in such a burdened way. You could see in his eyes, like, the experience that has led him to this conclusion was just overwhelming. And it was as if I had heard that expression for the first time in my entire life, right there. And it's always stuck with me, especially now, because that was a couple years ago. You fast forward 2 years, and I have learned the same lesson time and time again, more times than I care to admit. Job offers that sounded amazing came so easily and ended up being the exact opposite. Music endeavors and my music career and opportunities that were thrown into my lap were instantly thrown off because of how pointless they were. All these spectacular paths that have been put in front of me that ultimately led to the largest brick wall I could ever see and couldn't even see past the brick wall. That's how large it was. And the kicker is through all of those situations, I had hope. So what is the conclusion? What is the lesson of all that? Well, I do have to say, unfortunately, maybe to some of you, if something seems too good to be true and comes quite easily, 99% of the time it is. But I also think these situations are extremely important because they teach the beautiful lesson of things that come easy are not worth having. If you take anything away from this, well, I hope you take multiple things, but that's a big one. Things that come easy are not worth having. What we struggle for and persevere for, those are the things that we truly appreciate. So separation of ideals is very important in this matter. And the point to take this all home is this. The more experiences you have that lead to failure or disappointment are the best opportunities to test your faith. Because what good is your faith if everything is always going your way, if everything's always going perfectly? What foundation is that hope ultimately built on? because faith and hope endure. Every broken opportunity that you push through is what leads to the strongest success. Think about your list of failures and situations where they just led ultimately nowhere. You might have been hopeful through it all, like I was, but what was your hope like after the fall, after the failure? Was it crushed to the point of leaving it there, or did you pick that hope back up and keep on going? Did you endure? What we hope through ultimately determines the strength of your hope. And the thing that I would like to promise you through this video is that if you remain hopeful through it all the failures, all the closed doors, all the things that came way too easily and was way too good to be true, if you remain hopeful through all that, you will prosper. And as a final note, it is so important to remember that those situations where it is way too good to be true 99% of the time ultimately means that there is a beautiful 1% of the time where something really can be too good and too true at the same time. That situation comes from God, the only one who can take what we see as impossible and make it possible. Make it completely possible. Make it better than possible. Make it way past your expectations. So put your hope in him, and that's what I'll leave you with. Put your hope in him. A side note, I want to give one more awesome verse from Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 4. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character. Sorry, I said that word weird. And character, hope. Subscribe for more life lessons, thought experiments, psychological evaluations, if you will. But you don't have to, or you should subscribe. I do want you to do that, but you don't have to will on my psychological evaluations. Couldn't think of a better term. We're Stop Talking. Subscribe, hit like, comment, all the YouTuber things.